Just yesterday, Democratic U.S. Senator Alex Padilla was forcefully removed from Homeland Secretary Kristi Noem's news conference in Los Angeles and handcuffed by officers as he tried to speak up about immigration raids that have led to protests in California and around the country. Let's show that video.
And imbalancing. Sir, hands up. Senator Alex Padilla, I have questions for the secretary, because the fact of the matter is I have a dozen violent criminals that you're rotating on your
I also want to
Pull the ground. Hands behind your back. Hands on your back.
if you don't my hands, go ahead, friend, behind my back.
All right. Cool. Hey, with that hand. Lay flat. Lay flat.
Other hand, sir. Other hand.
Noem told Fox LA afterwards that she had a great conversation with Padilla after the scuffle, but called his approach, quote, something that I don't think was appropriate at all. Really, Madam Secretary? This wasn't some crazy left-wing loony off the street. This was an elected United States Senator from California who showed up at a news conference by an unelected federal secretary who simply wanted to represent his constituents and ask a question. And her thugs not only marched him out of the door, but then shoved him to his knees, then all the way to the ground and handcuffed him. I've spent much of my adult professional career managing a news conference. Back in the early 1990s, I was the press secretary, comms director for Nebraska Republican Attorney General Don Stenberg. The governor at the time was Democrat Ben Nelson. One day, we found out that the governor was going to hold a news conference to talk about his crime bill. At my suggestion, Attorney General Stenberg decided to crash Governor Nelson's news conference so that the media would also talk about our crime bill. And keep in mind, they were pretty bitter enemies at this point. This is what happened. The news conference had already started when we walked in. But do you know what Governor Nelson did? Well, I'll tell you what he didn't do. He didn't have his State Patrol security detail tackle his opponent and handcuff him. Instead, after a rather stunned look on his face, Governor Nelson politely acknowledged Attorney General Stenberg and the fact that Stenberg also had a crime bill before the legislature. Those were different times. You talk about truth over tribalism. We are living in some really trying times. I just couldn't help myself to point out how far we've come in this country when a sitting United States senator walks into a public federal building at a news conference with a Secretary of Homeland Security to ask a question on behalf of his constituents and gets marched out the door, thrown to the floor, and handcuffed. God help us for where we're at.